Welcome to another episode of Bulletproof. My name is Steve Stanulis. We have again, an amazing guest on today. But before we bring her out, we're going to talk about you guys. And I'm so thankful that you made us a top 10 podcast, both on Apple and on Spotify. And again, as much as I like to think it's always about me and my voice, I really know it's about our amazing guests. And we have another amazing guest today that has a really, really cool background. She's from the Secret Service. I think that was pretty cool. This is the second Secret Service person I had on in the last 2 weeks, which is I weird because I never had that before. But Secret Service all the way to digital protection, which I'm excited to get into as well. And right now we're going to bring her out. We have Hazel Cerra on. Hazel, how are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Um, as we spoke off air, Hazel is a Jersey girl now. She's kind of in my world, so she's enjoying the weather I'm having today. How long have you been in Jersey, Hazel?
Wow, I've been in Jersey the majority of my life. I was actually born in Cuba, so I came here when I was 5 years old, and I've been in Jersey ever since.
Wait, so you went from Cuba to Jersey,
I sure did.
not like Sayeville to Manalapan. You went from Cuba to Jersey, which is
I
which
sure
is pretty
did.
unique. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes, because most of the Cuban immigrants ended up in Miami, but nope, not me.
You ended up in Hazlet. No, I'm kidding,
No,
but
Jersey
it's
City.
great.
Actually, I'm a Jersey City girl.
Oh, okay. All right. So again, well, that's a little different from where you are now because you're kind of close. When you say South Jersey, you're South. People
Oh,
think I'm South Jersey, which is funny, being in Homedale, which I'm so not. But when people are logistically challenged with Jersey, I'm considered South Jersey, but I'm totally not. You're South Jersey.
Oh,
You're like
I'm
Cherry
South
Hill,
Jersey for sure. I
right?
mean, I've been here for 13 years now, and I have to tell you, I love it. It's beautiful down here. It's farmland. It's so different.
Right. Again, I would almost argue, like I said, you're closer to again Philly than you are New York, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so all right, awesome. So again, there's a lot of unique path you have here. Is before we get to the Secret Service and all these good things and cool things, is law enforcement something you always wanted to do, or is it something you kind of fell into, or what happened with that?
Now, I've always wanted to be in law enforcement. I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to protect people. I have very little tolerance for people that would take advantage of vulnerable people. So
Hmm.
it's always something that I gravitated towards. And that's what I studied. I studied criminal justice when I was in college because I was so determined to get into law enforcement. I just didn't know which road I was going to take in law enforcement.
Hmm.
That was, the internet didn't exist back then. So
Right,
I
right,
wasn't
right.
sure, but all the courses that I took were at nighttime, and it was my colleagues, they were all in, working in the field. So it was really interesting to kind of learn about their field experiences, and that's all I wanted to do was be in law enforcement.
Did you have family in law enforcement at all, or no?
No, no, because I'm the first one in my family to go to
Right.
college.
That's true too.
So we were
That's
all
wow.
immigrants in Cuba. So no, nobody did this.
Did they think you were crazy?
Well,
Or they kind
I mean, my dad, I think he did. He didn't really understand why I wanted to do what I wanted to
Mhm.
do.
Right.
But every time I would tell him that I wanted to be a teacher or a nurse or something like that, he'd kind of like balk at it. But this wasn't something he balked at, so I knew it was something that, he approved of. And my mother, I remember showing her like some of the videos of the Secret Service when,
Right.
they would be in training and blow things up and shoot. And she was like, "You're gonna do that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she would just like balk at it. It really wasn't until I completed training that she knew that I was carrying a gun.
That's funny. That's great. That's great. Well, what made you choose? And again, because again, Secret Service, as I was kiddingly saying before, we have everybody on this show as far as law enforcement, even from Navy SEALs to Rangers to, police chiefs to, I mean, anything you could have. Huge executive protection, everything. Um, and again, it was funny because uniquely we had somebody else from the Secret Service. I'm going to say something that's, if people are going to watch this or not watch and listen to it, you totally, when I have a central casting, right, of what
Yeah.
Secret Service would be or what would look like, right? The guest I had on the other day was like right out of central cast. Like if I was doing a movie and I said, get me a Secret Service looking dude, my last guess was that. You don't
Mhm.
fit the criteria of um, somebody I would think of with a Secret Service. So,
I know.
and again, I'm being complimentary because I think you're again, people that are not watching this, Hazel's a very attractive woman, and the reason why I'm going there is once you chose that path, did you have issues being a female and looking like what you look like in the Secret Service?
So it's funny you say that because I started back in 2000. So there weren't a lot
Mm,
of women. The Secret Service was comprised about 10% females, which
mm,
is very low. And it always teetered on that with the 9 and 10%. We didn't
right.
really push beyond that. And I was the only female in my training class. I didn't really think about the whole process of being a minority as far as being a female in the Secret Service until I went to training.
Mm,
It wasn't something that they talked about in school. I mean, we talked about theories, we talked about different types of law enforcement agencies and what they did, the law, search and seizure, all of that stuff. But we
right.
didn't really talk about the nitty-gritty of women being
Well,
underrepresented. So I
they
had
never do.
no clue.
They yeah, they never even like I said, it's different obviously, but even in NYPD, whatever you say, whatever you learn in the academy, the first day we would go to the precinct, to actually have our first day as a police officer. The
Mhm.
famous saying was everything you learned in the academy, forget about it. This is how it's really done. So I'm
Yeah.
sure, you go in, your book, you're all studied up, you're all ready to go. And then, reality hits, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't even think of the minority part, but but yes. So then you had two of those. Again, and I'm sure it wasn't bad. That's just, all of these Secret Service, all these law enforcement, we tend to really be, the camaraderie is always there. We always tend to break each other's chops. So what was like that? What was that for you when you arrived?
Well, when I arrived in my first day of training, first
Hmm.
recognized that I was the only female there, and looking around at all the other men that did
Hmm.
fit that criteria, right, of what a
Right.
Secret Service agent looks like, and
Hmm.
obviously I didn't. Um, and there was one person that I thought could potentially be a female because prior to going to training, they give you a list and it has
Right.
everybody's name on it. And there was one, it said Lon. And I was like, oh, that might be a female. And
Right.
when I went to training that first day, it wasn't a female. So I was literally the only one. Back
Hmm.
then, I think what tends to happen is that the men look at me like a sister, right? Like little sister, which isn't
Sure.
which isn't cool, right? I didn't really know that
Sure.
until now, but back then
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'm being accepted. They would call me Sister Hazel. And it was cool. They were really there to help me. There wasn't any malice. It was that camaraderie of like, hey, you're part of the team. And
Right.
once I proved myself, I mean, I was young. I was 25. I was the best fit I've ever been in my life. And
Sure.
going to training where we had to do push-ups, sit-ups, all that stuff. Um, I fit in. Like I was doing all the physical stuff. I wasn't the last person in the run. I was basically, lifting my weight. So,
Mhm.
once I got that sort of like an approval, right? I was
Right.
fine. I get along with people. I'm pleasant. I don't try to be rude. I'm not mean-spirited at all. So,
Mhm.
being able to establish that relationship with my peers was really critical in my
Mhm.
success throughout my entire career. And I remember
Right.
my supervisor, the special agent in charge of the office when I got hired, one of the first things he told me was like, when you go to training, you are going to meet 23 of your best friends because we are all type A personalities. He
Right.
couldn't be more right. We are.
Right. Right.
But being type A doesn't mean that, you are dominant, have a dominant or have high ego issues or anything like that. It just meant that we are personable. we understand the mission, the project, and we get it done.
Right.
And that's what I saw when I went to training. So being a female was, in the beginning was like, oh, okay, you're kind of new. We don't know what to do with you. Towards like me learning in my career that I brought something different to the table.
No,
And
absolutely.
it took me a while to understand that though. Like it didn't, I think as a woman, we first try to fit in. And there's
Hmm.
been studies about this. Like I had joined WIFL, which is Women in Federal Law Enforcement. And I went to a conference. And at the conference was when I started meeting other women that were in very similar, situations, were very, low, underrepresented, and seeing some of the struggles. And one of the things that women tend to do is we try to fit in. We try to use more foul language. We
Hmm.
try to dress like the men do. We
Right.
are just, trying to be one of the boys.
Right.
But I learned that, well, let me back up. One of the things that one of my friends saw me after I completed training, and she said, Hazel, you're looking kind of frumpy. And she used that word with me because I literally wasn't doing my nails. I wasn't like
Right.
keeping up with my feminine side, right?
Hmm.
And that wasn't me. And I realized like why am I trying to be one of the boys? The guys aren't trying to be one of the girls. Like I'm
Right.
different and that's okay.
Right.
So I had
Absolutely.
to get comfortable and with my skin and I did.
Awesome. So what would you say what is the biggest misconception about the Secret Service from the public view?
I think that people think that we just walk around with the president all day and that we have like this like, relationship where you just have conversations all the time, and that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Right. Right.
The service is run in the sense that it's a one voice policy for a reason. We don't
Hmm.
want our protectees to tell just anybody in the agency what they're doing and how they're doing it. We want that to be streamlined so that we have the best information needed in order to protect them in the best way possible.
Right. Who did you serve under? Which presidents?
So I served under many presidents. I started when I first came on the job. It was Bush who just got it was the hanging Chad situation. So we wasn't sure if it was Bush or Gore.
Uh-huh.
But yes, it started there. And then when I
Wow.
did my detail time, I was under President Bill Clinton.
Yeah, it's funny because, and again, um, I keep bringing up my the prior guest, who's a great guy. He must have got on the same time you did because he went from you probably even know him, but
Who
we'll
is it?
discuss it offline. I'll talk to you offline.
Okay.
Again, I just don't know if he's happy with me saying his name on a
Okay.
different podcast, but he went under um, what you call. He worked under Bush, Clinton, Obama. He worked up all the way to um, Sleepy Joe. He all the way to up to Joe, and then he just recently retired. So he did like 30 something years. Um, but again, like I was kidding, he like I said, if you central casting on why they're the best, why if you're gonna have any protection, you want us. We're the best, and we
Oh
talked
yeah.
about obviously we talked about what just recently happened with Trump, in the at the dinner and how great, he was very impressed how they handled that. But
Hmm.
yeah, you guys, I bet you guys know each other or maybe cross path or
I'm
what have you.
sure we do. I'm sure
And he's
we
a great,
do because that's the same friend.
amazing guy. And right, and we actually now we're in touch on a regular basis. Just not like boys, BFFs, but we text and all these different things. And but yeah, he's like pro everything. Everything is you know Secret Service.
Oh yeah,
You
I'm the
know.
same way. Listen, I'll never stop being a Secret Service agent. I still
Oh no,
recruit
I
the
know. Right,
agency. I mean,
right,
we have 125 years of protection experience. That
right.
no one can compare to that. That's why we
No, and
are the best.
again, right. And if you're gonna, listen, so you can, there's people that can do executive protection with CEOs, right? Celebrities, which I've had some of the distinctions of doing myself. But again, when you are assigned to the leader of the free world, you can't really go much higher than that. So absolutely. So if I got to the point in my life where I needed that type of protection, before I went even to a Ranger or a Green Beret or any of them, Navy SEAL, I would probably go with, and it makes the most sense. It would probably be with a Secret Service agent, right? Because it's what they do, right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to bring you into this conversation. Again, we're not going to get political at all, but just to see tactics wise, right? And we had a little bit of a discussion on it as we touched on it. Um, when Trump got shot, yeah, not the last attempt, obviously, because it doesn't happen. But when he got shot and when he got nicked in the ear, um, tactical wise, because obviously you weren't there, what do you think? What it could have been done better? What in your eyes, hearing what you heard, just obviously some for second-hand information, what do you think went wrong either with the planning, the tactics, the security? What's your take?
So I will never second guess any of the agents that were there that day because I don't have access to what they know and what conversations they had. I
Hmm.
think that it's important to remember that we provide the security, but as far as the actual agenda and how things work, and also understanding that it is a live event,
Right.
it is there's a lot of challenges there and it's very complex. And the
Hmm.
agents did and planned the best that they could with the information that they had. At the end of the day, the sniper, the counter sniper, did his job. And
Yeah, that's
that,
what he loved that. He thought
yeah,
that was the best
well,
part.
that's what they're trained to do. And that's why
Mhm.
we have them. So the layers worked.
Right. Well, you know what? Again, he didn't say this. We didn't discuss this, but again, everything I'm taking is from, so I have no knowledge. I have secondhand information. A lot of the blame wasn't put on obviously you guys or cops in the area or whatever. They were saying that you guys were very understaffed and that it was almost intentionally done in a way politically. Again, not to get into why or how, whatever, but could that have been a big part of it, that understaffing, that you just didn't have enough manpower? Or it was just not what, I don't know. That's what they were saying about the manpower.
Yeah, I can't speak to that specifically because
Hmm.
again, I don't know the numbers that were
Right,
there, but
right.
we plan and think about every scenario when we coordinate an event like that,
Mm.
especially when it comes to the president. We have it's an army of people. Like it's not just a couple of dudes putting a plan together.
Right,
So
right.
I can't speak to that, that specific scenario, but what I
Hmm.
can say is that the plan worked and the
Hmm.
agents did what they designed the plan as best as they could with the information that they had.
Okay, no, fair enough. And now, you had worked under about four or five presidents. Um, Now, again, I'm not gonna compare myself to you at all because it's totally apples and oranges. I had the pleasure of doing Kanye West, I'm not gonna even talk about that. But what I'm saying is, I've worked with a lot of A-list celebrities, well-known Kanye West, DiCaprio, a lot of people, and obviously everybody you work with wants things done differently, right? So, one person might want A, another person might want B, one person might want, you structurally put in a different position. So my question is, do you guys have one security structure that works for everyone, or does the president himself um, set things up to his liking? So in other
Oh,
words, do you have to contort to the president, or does he have to contort to you?
oh no, the president does not dictate how we provide protection to him.
Okay.
By law, he has to be protected.
Right.
He is one of the most targeted individuals
Sure.
in our country, I would dare say the world.
For
And
sure.
the way that we provide protection, it is a team and partnership approach to protecting him in all different types of scenarios.
Hmm.
We are always recreating the security that we have at the White House everywhere that the president goes. So it is very normal for the president to
Hmm.
see how we provide protection, and he
Mhm.
doesn't see all of the layers that we have and all the
Cool.
perimeters. He just sees
Right.
his small shift of agents of how we basically escort him around, and everything is choreographed and there's a method to the madness, and the
Mhm.
president is aware of that. They actually trained the president in our training academy so that they could see how we operate specifically when there's some type of critical incident. So no, the we don't contort to the president. It's the other way
He could
around
totally, he course, Steve, right. Oh, I mean,
because
that would make sense. No, no, it's awesome because again, you have all those years experience, right? So it would be silly for somebody else to come in and say, hey, I know you guys did it this way, but I would like it done this way. No, that's smart. I mean, obviously that's smarter. You just, sometimes you hear things and you're like, oh my God. But that's what
yeah,
I would have thought. I didn't know the answer, and thank you for
right.
sharing because I had no idea. But that makes a lot more sense. I'm glad it's that way. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Because
it has to be. But I understand where you're coming from because I do partner with a lot of executive protection firms, and that
Mhm.
is the constant battle because and it's almost like skewed in a sense, right? Because that principle is paying you. So if you don't do
Right,
it their way, then you could lose that job and you don't want to lose
right.
that job. So you have to find that sweet spot of how you can provide protection the most, efficient way without losing that relationship because that's going to affect your bottom line. So that is the difference between the Secret Service and the president relationship because there is no financial burden, like they have to do it the way that we need to do it. Now, what is unique though, where you do get into a situation like that is when we're protecting different family members that don't have the exposure that the president has.
Mhm.
There's a little bit of flexibility there, but certainly not the same way that you have when you're talking about an executive protection firm and a principal. Though those two are a little different because of the balance.
Got it. I got it. Because yeah, right. Because as we speak, not that long ago, there was, oh, wasn't it? It never got seen to fruition, but there was a rumor or something that they were going to try to go after Ivanka Trump. And I'm sure, obviously, there's, you know, every single person has a protocol on how they're dealt with on a day-to-day basis. So yes, and somebody like Ivanka is not, somebody like an unknown, entity within a president's family. They have a situation, the Trumps, where obviously a lot of the immediate family are public figures as well. So I would, think that would be a really challenging as opposed to some of the other families in the past. But yes, I'm sure everybody has their own protocol depending on their day to day.
Yeah, they do, and that's why, Steve, what I do now in Black Cloak is so important, and why it helps the executive
Mhm.
protection community because I protect digital lives. Well, not
Mhm.
really me, but Black Cloak does.
No, no,
But
yeah, and I'm
anyway,
excited. Yeah, and I'm excited to transition to that. But yes, yeah, no, and I
yeah,
can't wait
yeah,
to hear
because
about that.
because basically a lot of these physical attacks first start digitally. So
Mhm.
being able to mitigate and reduce that attack surface does help you in the in the actual physical world.
Right. So again, so how long did you serve under the Secret Service?
So before I joined the private sector, I was in the Secret Service for 25 years. And
Wow. Again, I'm not trying to be flirtatious because I'm not, but you look great. I mean, I didn't think you were
thank
that,
you.
not at all. You look great. I'm just saying, that's why I thought you were going to say like 10 because you
No,
don't look
no.
your age. Your age
Yeah,
doesn't show
no.
the years.
I'm very blessed. I tell you, I have good genes and I was very healthy. And I do have to thank the Secret Service for pushing us to be physically fit because that's something that we do on a regular basis. It's just the culture. So
Hmm.
being active, physically active since I was in my 20s definitely contributes to feeling great, looking great, and I just have a different lifestyle. That's all. But and genes too.
I would think it's the Jersey water that does it. It might be the Jersey water.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe it's the water in South Jersey. Who knows? So once you got out, you kind of transitioned to where you are now is what we're going to talk about because again, there's a lot of interesting things in this as well. Um, so now you're working with again. I'm going to segue you into what you were talking about a second ago prior. You're working now with whom?
I work for Black Cloak.
And just if you could tell everybody listening what that is.
Sure, sure. So, I currently serve as the Director of Digital Security Convergence at Black Cloak, and my entire focus is on safeguarding high-profile individuals and their families by bridging the gap between the physical and the digital security.
Which is incredible. It's incredible. Uh, and again, I'm going to know somebody's answer, but again, I wanted to ask you a couple things. I know people listening are going to say, "Well, I didn't ask this question." So, is physical surveillance or digital surveillance more dangerous?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Forward
So,
them.
yeah, physical surveillance is really scary because that person is there at the moment and they could attack you at any time, right? So it just depends of what they're trying to do. Now, the digital surveillance is also, I would say, equally as dangerous because you could have somebody surveil you and they could be in another part of the world.
Mhm.
They
That's
could
crazy.
be It is crazy, and we've never had that before. So being able to put together the pieces of the puzzle as to what your home life is like, especially if you're posting a lot on social media, I could find out a lot of information about you, your travel routines, your where your children go to school, what religion you are, what your habits are. All these things are out there, and the worst part is that you're volunteering this information, so it makes it really easy for me to put together that digital footprint. But aside from the stuff that is publicly available that you're pushing out, there's still a lot of other things that I can find from an individual, even if you're not posting on social media.
So, do you think so? If somebody was looking for me, right? Do you think somebody out there would be able to find my home address in under 15 minutes?
100%.
Really?
Yeah,
I
100%.
want to do it. I want to do this again. I want to have another exercise. I want to have you on, whenever you're available again. I want to do an exercise with you. Obviously Google, you can find stuff fun. I want to try to see if this
Okay.
can be debunked or not. I'm gonna just you have my name. I
Okay.
want to do a whole structure layout on me.
Okay.
See
Well, I
how
don't know if you want
accurate
to
it is.
publicize that though, Steve.
Again, we're not live, so
Okay.
so
Okay.
so. But yeah, I'd be really interested. And how much has AI helped this whole structure right now? Has it made it easier, or was that easy pre-AI, and it's even going to get scarier now with AI?
Yeah, so AI definitely is an accelerator. So yeah, you could do things a little bit quicker with AI, but I mean, I've tried to test it a little bit. Like I'll ask for a celebrity and ask if they could give me their address, and it won't give it to me. So I think it depends which AI tool you're using. Um,
Hmm.
but listen, you know how easy it is to get somebody's information? All I have to do is hack into your email address and I have everything I need. And it's not that hard. Did you just see it happen to Kash Patel? I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah. Well, but okay, so let's go there for a minute, right? So
okay.
you get into my email, right? Whatever. I'm email. I do my emails. I order. I do my day-to-day email. What is so easy unless I'm talking about something like um, that's not legal or whatever. I'm just having my day-to-day. How can you compile information if I'm not really doing anything other than like my work and day-to-day stuff? What is that telling you if you got into my email
Okay.
without me plotting to do something
Yeah.
catastrophic?
Yeah. So I'm just looking for patterns of life. So I'm
Hmm.
sure that in your emails, you probably have an itinerary of a travel that you booked. So, like airline, a flight, a hotel that you're
Hmm.
staying at,
All
maybe
right,
you're
that makes
renting a
sense.
car. So, if I
That
have
makes sense.
information like that, then I can basically meet you somewhere and surveil you in person and decide to um, conduct an attack. I mean,
That
that's
makes
what I
sense.
would do if I was a bad guy. And I could basically trace you from your home to you the airport because I'm going to have a kind of window of an idea of when you're going to be leaving.
Mhm.
Or I can meet you at the airport or perhaps at your vacation home when you're there with your whole family and kidnap your kids. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit dark, but
No, 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 I
um,
love it.
but
No, I love it.
that's how
Maybe you and I will talk about that offline. Maybe we can make that happen, at least for like a weekend,
back
and
here.
then you abduct them for maybe 2 days, and then you can bring them back. Um,
Okay.
so if I handed you my phone right now, what would concern you first? What would be the biggest concern? If I
Well,
said here,
yeah, I'd first check to see if you have multi-factor authentication on it, if you have like biometrics on it. Do you?
Mhm.
You do? So like you open it with your
random.
face? Oh God. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of work to do apparently. But yeah. Yeah, but that's really important to have because if you don't have that, then that's it makes it easier for me to be able to get into your phone. So if you lose it, I could get your phone and I could just go in there and start going through your data, your bank accounts. I could drain your bank accounts. So I don't think you want me to do that. But it depends if I just what my motivation is. Like there's different people out there that want to cause harm. And it could be someone that's just financially motivated and they just want to take
Mm,
your money. It could be an
right.
activist. Maybe you're doing something that they're not crazy about. Maybe they're you pulled from one party to the other and those people don't like it or that kind of stuff. And then you also have maybe somebody that just wants to maybe embarrass you.
Mm,
That could be a really bad thing. They could take your information and then they could just put it out on the internet. And once it's out there, people don't fact check this stuff. So if they
right.
could even make it up. I mean, that's the thing with AI now is that people can create a deep fake of you
Well,
saying something and that could harm your entire brand. And it takes a lot to be able to counter that because people don't fact check.
would you say deep? Now, if I again, I have a lot more to talk to you about, but would you say that's the biggest concern? Are deep fakes and trying to decipher if they are real? Is that hard, or is it pretty easy to uh, decipher if a deep fake's actually a real thing?
It is hard. They're getting better and better. Before you couldn't see like the back of someone's head, so you could tell if you couldn't see their ears that it was a deep fake, but now it looks like a normal person. So what I always recommend people do is if you're talking to someone and you're not sure who they are, ask them to open the refrigerator of their home because that's going to be a telltale sign if it's someone that is in another country because you'll see obviously in different languages their food. So do that. The other thing you could do is just like, hey, show me outside, open the door, and then you could find out like, if it's what the weather is that day for that area where you know the person, and they could be in Iceland and it's snowing. So, and again, most people, if it is a deep fake and they don't want to be discovered, they're just going to cut the call.
Gotcha. No, I'm almost talking about, and that makes sense. That's also great tips. But I'm talking about if somebody, again, I'll just, for lack of imagination right now, I'm using myself. So I go on and say, whatever, I'm in bed with two girls, and whatever. And is it easy to decipher that? Like that's not, it wasn't really me. I was in talking to you, when that happened. Um, is that easy to debunk or no?
No, it's not. It's going to look very much like you, and the scenario is going to look very real. So if it's like a video of something, no, it's not easy to debunk. You would have to go out there and you got to take it down as soon as possible, and then you have
Right.
to put out a statement saying that it wasn't you and it was a deep fake. And yeah, it's a mess. It's tough.
Well, that's crazy. So what would you say CEOs, celebrities, and high net worth individuals are most worried about?
Well, they're most worried about protecting their families because now that they're out there in the public eye it exposes their entire life. So
Right.
we've never had this before. When you think about it, 20, 30 years ago, the only person that was out in the news, in the newspaper, on a radio station, it was the president. That's it. But that's why they had so many threats against them because
Mhm.
not everybody's going to agree what you have to say, especially when you're making unpopular decisions. So now we have shifted where the executives and CEOs are under that same spotlight. They're on the news, they're on social media, they are just always being exposed, and they don't always make popular decisions either. So
Right.
now they're in this public presence,
Mm.
like the president used to be back then, but security hasn't caught up to that because there's way too many CEOs and executives that think that they're invisible. They think that, oh, no one recognizes me, nobody knows who I am, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. You are
Right.
exposed, you are out there, and there are people out there that are not going to agree with everything that you do. Information is out there on the internet about you. If you're not, and
Mm.
if you're not doing anything about that, that's a problem. And
Hmm.
you're exposing your entire family where who's protecting them? So
Right.
the same way that the president, it's not just the president, we protect their family as well. And we protect all of their, well, we protect their homes. They usually, the president doesn't just they live in the White House, they live other places as well. We protect them
Right.
as well because we know that they are going to be motivated threat actors that are going to try to locate our protectees in a space where they feel are going to be the most vulnerable. And right
Mm.
now, our executives are just completely exposed. There's very little protection, and
Mm.
they don't really understand the threat. And it's always the same thing that happens when something occurs. People all of a sudden budgets appear, and they start understanding that they need more safeguards. And the thing about security is that you need to do it before it happens. So, the whole digital security convergence is about anticipating that threat before it moves from the screen to the street.
Because it's crazy, right? It's scary. Like I said, people don't realize, you know, this end of it. Almost like, I don't know if they're in denial, if they're just uneducated, or, refuse to want to know. I don't know what it is, but you have like this whole conglomerate of people, even with AI, that are just in denial that it's happening, and you know what I mean. And again, you could either go with change, right, and learn from it, or get run over by it. But it's happening. You know what I mean? And very, very well.
Mhm.
So, so we're talking about all this and how easy and all this stuff. So you had mentioned, you could abduct my children to whatever stuff like that. So getting into that now, what scares you most about kids online, and what should every parent know?
Mm. Man, I've seen a lot of really bad things. So, my heart goes out to parents that are dealing with this kind of stuff, especially the aftermath of it, because it's very scary. But I think that having conversations with your children and explaining to them that they don't know who they're interacting with online,
Hmm.
that conversation needs to be had and at a very early age. They need to understand that not everyone that you are connected with is another young kid like you. It could be an adult and they have bad intentions. So don't give away your personal information like your name, your address, any of those things. Those conversations are a priority, a must have. And, especially when you're giving your children devices early in their lives. I'm very concerned about that. Like I believe, like for me, it was age 13 for my son to have a cell phone, right?
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of information that they're going to have access to. They're not just like playing around video games.
Right, playing
They're
games.
not
Right,
even
right,
texting. Yeah, they're not even texting anybody. Like it's really, they have the news, they have, videos, they can search anything.
right.
So it's really, it boils down to having those conversations. Being a parent is not, it has to be a relationship. You have to establish those guidelines for children and give them those rules of this is why we follow these rules, And this is what happens when you don't. And it really is important to do that. I'm very fortunate because I've had those conversations with my kids and they understand. I've, knock on wood, haven't had any situations just yet. But often I find that when these situations occur, it's because there was a lack of conversation with the parents and their children.
Well, again, so what is the middle line of being like just the annoying parent, right? Or um, being, overly paranoid parent? So what is the, where's the happy ground if there is any?
Yeah, so I don't know if there's really any. It depends on the maturity of your child. That's the same thing. Like, for example, I know like in the law, as far as like when you can leave your child home alone, it varies, right? Because some children are more mature than others.
Mm,
So
right.
you as a parent, you only know that. I can't
You
tell
have
you
to
what that
gauge
is.
that, right?
Right.
Right.
You
That
have
makes
to know
sense.
the maturity of your children and be able to have that conversation with them. So I don't know if there's like a specific, like, this is the age, this is the time. Like, there just isn't. You are a parent, and we are all, our kids are different. We are all different. And I mean, I've met some kids that are like 10 years old and they're way mature than some 20-year-olds. So
Right.
it really depends on the level of maturity of that child and the ability to have that conversation with the parent and their children.
It's a great answer. All right. So we've come up right now. You've lasted, and phenomenal job. We're going to do our lightning round right now.
Oh God,
Which
there's a lot. Okay.
there is a lightning round.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is, again, we're just going to ask you questions. And well, first thing that comes to mind without over explaining it. All
Okay.
right. All right.
This is scary for me.
No, 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 no,
Well,
no, no.
I have strange things that come to mind. Okay, go ahead.
No, that's a different podcast. That's the second one I'm going to
Oh,
invite you on.
okay. Oh, that's the one I need to be on. Okay, okay.
That's the one. That's what we're going to talk about after you go through my history and then you tell me about me. So ready?
Yeah.
No overthinking. Ready?
Okay.
Passwords, most common mistake.
Using password 123.
Really? People still do that?
Yes,
All right. Well, they deserve to get it then. Yeah,
they
not for
do.
nothing. Public Wi-Fi, use it or avoid it.
Avoid it
Why?
because there are some threat actors that will do what's called an evil twin, and they will connect a network that has the
Oh my
same
God.
name as a coffee, and basically they connect to your computer or your phone, and they could see everything that you're doing online. And that if you're doing banking and stuff, they could drain your bank accounts doing that. So the only way that you should use open Wi-Fi is if you use a VPN.
It's just my next question. You use it or avoid it, VPNs.
Use it.
Necessary or overrated, VPNs.
Necessary.
Dating apps, safe or risky?
Ugh, risky.
Are they?
Huh?
Are they? They are?
Well, you just have to be able to spot out the scammers, and some people are not really good at that. I mean, it's 2026, and that's really the only way you're going to meet people. Everyone's buried in their phone, unfortunately, but you just have to be able to spot out the people that are out there to scam you.
It's funny because again, amongst doing a podcast and having a whole, film business, I have a pretty big private investigating company. And do you know how many calls and we get from like older women or older guys that are widowed or what have you, and they meet somebody's picture on an app
Hmm.
and they start talking to them, right? And then never see them on, like we are.
Yeah.
And, all of a sudden they start to talk and people start, going back and forth. And I guess they start feeding into whatever. We're going to meet
Hmm.
soon. I can't wait. And all of a sudden they get sick, the person, or they got in
Hmm.
trouble. Can you give me money? And people have fell in love with these people,
Yep. I
given
know.
crazy amount of money.
Yep.
And we debunk that the person's real and they still don't want to believe it. It's crazy.
No,
It's
I've dealt with that too. When I was in the Secret Service, I've had cases where I had an individual who was giving money to this woman, basically emptied out his entire life savings, giving it to her only because she asked, right? Didn't even know
right.
why she wanted the money. He was driving Uber and Lyft and living with his mother and gave her like $500,000. And after we spoke to him and said, hey, this is a scam. She doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, here are the two guys that you're giving your money to that just bought Mercedes Benz with it. This isn't real. And he was about to send more money, an additional 30K. After we spoke to him, he still sent it. And he's never met this woman. I'm like, where do I meet a guy like that? I don't have to cook. I don't have to iron. I don't have to do anything. Are you just going to send me money? Like,
Right. That's crazy.
it
That's
is
crazy.
crazy, but people believe it. And you know what I always say is stop having a relationship with your phone. If you've never met the person, that's not a relationship. That is a relationship with your device.
Absolutely. Agreed. TikTok, concerned or not concerned?
Concerned.
Why? I can't, I'm not supposed to keep asking why
Well,
afterward, but
you tend to. This is a different podcast now, because it's monitored by another country and it's not good. So you're going to get malware. So I avoid it.
smart home devices, convenience or security nightmare?
Both. They're convenience. I go for the convenience. I like them.
AI, biggest opportunity or biggest threat?
Biggest opportunity.
Why?
Because you could do so much more with it. I try not to be a negative Nelly about it. Yes, you could, with anything that we have, people are always going to use it for nefarious purposes. That's just the way that life is. But AI is truly amazing and it's created so many millionaires.
One thing everyone should stop posting immediately.
Their location,
Yeah, that makes sense. One thing everyone should, oh, I just asked you that same question. What age should kids get smartphones?
I think 13 is a good age.
Yeah, I do too. I think I agree.
But they have to earn it. I think that they need to earn it. Like my kid, I told him that he had to be in the Civil Air Patrol. It's a volunteer organization. And, it's the auxiliary of the Air Force. And I said, you have to join it and you have to earn your first badge and then you'll get your phone. And that's what he did.
So it's good. I mean, again, we made him work for it, which is good. Celebrity security, most misunderstood threat.
I think not realizing how exposed they are and knowing and understand. Well, you said threat. I think it's individuals with mental health issues that they don't understand that they're, people that have schizophrenia don't think logically and they could harm them. So not understanding that those people are out there and that not everybody is good. Not everybody's a fan.
Right. Identity theft, most common way people get burned.
Most common way people get burned. Hmm, it's just through network intrusion. It's usually a third party service that you're using and they get breached and now they have your information and that there's not much you could do about that.
What is the one app you would delete from your phone if you could?
If I could,
If you could.
well, I don't know. I mean, I don't, if I could, I mean, I don't have TikTok or Waze. Waze is not a good one either, but I don't have
Really?
that. Yeah, yeah, it's also yeah,
You-
it's
Wow.
sketchy. Sketchy, yeah.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
What's the single most important thing everyone listening can do today to become more bulletproof?
Have more conversations with your family, specifically your parents, about identity theft, credit card fraud, and the latest scams, because that's the generation that is being targeted by threat actors. Reason being is that our parents have acquired wealth, and that's what the threat actors are targeting, are individuals that have a lot of money. And without us having those conversations with our parents, they're very vulnerable. So it's about protecting the generations that are that are ahead of us. I'm sorry, behind us, because that's who the bad guys are targeting. So being able to help them protect themselves is really important for our country.
Pretty good. Oh, awesome. So, you survived the lightning round. It wasn't so bad, right?
No, that wasn't bad at all.
No, no. Like I said, it's a different podcast. So, in closing today, people that are listening, where can they find you? And again, if somebody was interested as maybe that's a high net worth person that's listening, or somebody that wants us to reach out and ask you a question. Again, I know you're not on all the social media stuff, but I'm saying, well, how do people find you?
On LinkedIn, I'm very active on LinkedIn. You could just send me a message. It could be a question. It could be that maybe you want to work with my new organization with Black
And
Cloak, because I
and
partner with.
explain how they could do that, please.
Sure. As far as partnering, you mean, or?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
okay. So that's literally my entire role. I provide the partnership from Black Cloak with digital executive protection to executive protection firms, where you have the whole physical security down packed. You know what you're doing in the physical realm, but being able to protect you digitally, we don't just do data broker removal. That's one piece of it, right? Reducing the attack surface. But the most
Hmm.
important piece is protecting the network and all of your devices, to include laptops, cell phones, iPads, not just for the principal, for the entire family. Like, we have a holistic approach when it comes to protecting the principal and their family and all of their homes. So that is what I can bring to the table, to partner with the executive protection firms. So then you could provide not just the physical protection, but the digital protection as well.
Amazing. And then again, just for the people that are going to be listening and not watching, just spell your name, Hazel, your first and last name, so everybody, if they want to write down for LinkedIn and try to find you, so everybody can find it.
Sure. Hazel, Hazel, and my last name is Sarah. So it's Charlie Echo Romeo Romeo Alpha.
And for people that went too fast in
Oh,
the
sorry.
non-military world, it's Sarah, Cerra, Sarah, not an S. So I know she's going Charlie, Eddie, Robert, Adam. No, it's Cerra. So
Okay.
we have to get her out of the military mindset. So Hazel, before I let you go, um, when are you available again to provide a little challenge?
Maybe July, like early week in July.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll reach out. I'm not
Okay.
even going to tell you what the challenge is, because now you have all this time. If I said, oh, let's do me, now you have 3 months, 3 weeks where I could probably do the same thing. So I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to ask, challenge you guys to do, and I'm
Okay.
going to give you how long should I give you?
Oh, well, I mean, I need tools to do it. So I was going to do it ahead of time, where I could get my OSINT crew, our open source intelligence team,
Hmm.
and they could basically do that and find out all the information that I need from you.
Hmm.
And then we could kind of talk about it. You could kind of see it, and we could have a conversation about it.
Okay, so we'll do that. So once we get a date from you, we'll talk offline. I'll give you
Okay.
everything you would need from me, and then we'll give
I
you.
don't need anything. I basically, yeah, I don't need really anything. Just your first name, last name, and email address. That's it.
Okay. All right. So there it is. So again, I want to thank everybody today. I want to thank Hazel Cerra. I learned a lot of stuff today. I thought I knew a lot of things. I learned a lot. I really did. And I'm making some of the same mistakes that apparently that a lot of other people are. So awesome. This was awesome. I want to thank our sponsors at Believe. And please leave us a 5-star review. We are on Apple Podcast. We are on Spotify, YouTube, and everywhere you get your podcast. We are in the top 10, but we could go up higher. So please pass the word. And again, it's not because of my voice. It's 'cause amazing guests like Hazel. Hazel, thank you so much. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely, Steve. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Stay bulletproof, everyone.